What's up, YouTube? In the spirit of doing what Jason Langsdorff has done on Twitter with his movement of do it anyways, I figured I would go ahead and finally start out doing these videos. I've done it off and on for a while. In fact, I used to be an old-time YouTuber in the gaming scene, I guess you'd call it, under Minecraft. But now I actually have transitioned to a full-time developer, and I love to teach, so I figure might as well just start teaching. And so what I'm going to do is kind of sort of teach in a way, but also it's more of a ride along scenario where I want to actually really dive a little bit into different areas in the JS community and other communities as well. But I also don't have as much time having kids, so I just wanted to learn as I go. So we might stumble, we may trip, we may fall, but we'll get through this together and let's go ahead and get started. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Drizzle, Remix, and Turso DB. So if you don't know, Remix is a next alternative. In fact, there's a whole bunch of these small like meta framework things based off of Vite. They just switched the basically the framework underpinnings over to Vite. So really nice. I figure instead of doing next, everyone does next. I might as well try Remix out. And then Drizzle is something I haven't really done before. I've done Prisma before, but not as much Drizzle. So it'd be nice to try out a different ORM. And of course, Turso is the newest SQLite or SQL-ish database management system that you can use. So I might as well try that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And to start with, we're going to go ahead and go through the docs here for Remix. We'll say get started, and I'll say npx create remix at latest. All right, we'll call this Drizzle to do. And then, yes, we'll initialize a new repo and go ahead and install all the dependencies using npm. You can use pnpm, you can use bunx, you could do whatever you want. I'm just going to use npm because it's the simplest to get started with. So once this gets up and running, we can switch over our project folder that we're currently in. Right now, we're kind of just in the base tutorials folder that I have. But in order to get the file tree and all that working, we can actually run a nice little command called code-r, which is replacing the current window that we have open. And then we'll do Drizzle. Oh, sorry, it's tutorials. You know what? Let's go back a folder. Go to tutorials again. I think I was in like the deleted folder for some reason. So let's go to Drizzle to do. So now we're in here. Let's go ahead and clear that out. And so next what we want to do is we want to just go ahead and we already have npm installed. We already have Remix installed. So let's say npm run dev. And just so we can see that it's working and all that, we have the base Remix starter kit open. And then let's do that code-r dot to switch over into this folder directory. So now we have the file tree open, which is really nice. So now we can see all of the files in here. And so the next step is switching over to using Drizzle and Turso together. And so let's go ahead and just walk through this. So first we want to install Drizzle ORM and libsql. And once that's done, we can install Drizzle Kit, which will allow us to actually use some nice little things, like we can have like a database explorer opened up locally if we want. All right, the next thing we want to do is we don't really have a database set up. I do have the Turso CLI locally, so we can actually set up a database. So if say Turso db create, and we'll call this to do. That'll create that database for us. And then we also want to, let's see, we'll code.env to create an m file. And then I will just copy and paste these up here, and we need to replace them. So we'll say Turso db show URL, and we'll say to-dos. All right, that is our URL for that. So we'll go ahead and delete that. And then for the auth token, we'll do the same thing, Turso db tokens create, and we'll say to-dos. All right, let me go ahead and take this. Disclaimer warning, this token will be revoked, so don't worry about trying to use it, but if you want to try, go ahead. So there we go, we have the token, and then now, if we scroll down a little bit, we need to set up our schema and all of that, so I'll just create a new folder in here called Drizzle, and then create a new file called schema.ts. And then we'll just copy and paste this over with changing a few things. 1, we don't need that. 2, we'll call this to-dos. We'll call it to-do, single to-do. So we'll have a to-do table. We'll have, let's put in a integer. So we can say ID is integer, and then we'll say, let's see, let's look up real quick. Drizzle auto increment ID. All right, and if we scroll down a little bit right here, we have to make the integer primary key auto increment right here. So we can do that. So we'll have the auto incrementing ID in mode number, and then we'll say this is the name of the to-do. We don't need a default. And then also we'll do a done, and then the mode will be Boolean, not null. And we can say, dot default is, can we say true here or false? We'll say false. All right, so done or completed? We'll say completed. Complete or completed? Completed. We'll do completed. All right, so now we have our little schema set up here. Well, let's go ahead and just export this out so we can use it. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we need to create a, let's go back to the instructions for Drizzle. We want to create a db.ts file. So if I come in here and say db.ts, this is just a simple copy and paste over so that we have the connection set up with both the URL and the auth token that we've created. And then now we need to use this. So let's just get into where our routes are. We have our index file. Let's go ahead and remove some of this boilerplate stuff that comes in with the base Remix app. All right, we'll say to-dos just so we know it's working. npm run dev. And then, all right, so we have to-dos is up there and working. The next thing we want to do is, this could be the list page, and then we'll do like a new page after this. So we want to get all of the to-dos showing on this page. So if I say, let's see, export function loader, and then we'll say, this is going to be an async function, and we'll say db from Drizzle dot select dot from to do. This is going to be an import dot all, and so now we can just return that. That'll be returning all of them for us, and then we can say const to dos is equal to use data loader or loader data. And so now we should be able to create a UL and a UI and an LI. And then we should be able to say, well, to-dos.map. If I can type right, there we go. And this will be to-do. We'll have a key of to-do.id and then to-do.name. All right, now we're having an issue with to-dos because it's unknown. Well, we can easily just say type of loader here to get the types imported in. So that's properly correct. We have ID, name, and completed. We can do the checkbox here in a little bit. So now if I do npm run dev, you'll see that, hey, there's no tables set up. So what's up with that? Well, first, in order to be able to set up tables, we actually need to be able to migrate our database. So we can say drizzle kit push. Drizzle kit push SQLite. Actually, you know what? We need to set up the base Drizzle connection first. So right here for Drizzle, we'll do a config file in our root directory. And then we'll just copy and paste this over. And then we should be able to, let's do Drizzle kit. Hold on one second. Did I install Drizzle kit directly? I might not have. Okay, it is up to date, so it looks like that did get installed correctly. Cannot find module PGORM. Let's scroll down here to where this says, oh, here we go, npx Drizzle Kit Studio. So that'll load up. It'll probably tell us the same issue that we're having. Yep. Okay, so now I think I was missing the npx part of this. So we can say Drizzle Kit push SQLite. That will apply our changes to our schema that we have set up. So now when we do Studio, we should see, all right, now we have to-dos. So we have ID, name, and completed. Let's go ahead and now that we have that, actually let's split this tab a little bit so we can actually have both of them running at the same time. We'll do the Drizzle Kit and also npm run dev. And so now if we go back to our index file, we're already looping over the to-do. So let's go ahead and just add a record. Remember ID is auto incrementing, so we don't need that. Let's see, get groceries. Actually get milk, why not? And then for completed, that should automatically be set to false when we save. So there we go, get milk is false. So now if I, yep, right there we have to-dos, we have get milk, and all of that is working. So the next step is now we want to be able to actually add data, right? So let's see, export async function. In Remix, there's a thing called action. I think it's actions, or no, it's probably action. I think it's action. Let's see. I think it's action. Let's go ahead and try this anyways. It does have a request coming back from it, and we'll use that to get the form data. So we'll say request is, we can say action function args. So that'll come in from Remix. We don't need that. Okay, so we have action function args. So this is where we can do a switch case statement. And we'll do request.method here. And this will just give us a way to easily abstract out like the different methods that we have. So we have a post, a put, and a delete. So something that we want to consider. Default, we'll just do nothing. To make this a little bit cleaner, what we can also do is we can just abstract some methods out here. So I can say like function create to do, and then this is just going to take in basically the request. So we can say just request. So now I can, right here, I can say create to do, and then we can just return this as well. That way, if we have anything that we want to return in there, that's totally fine. Let's say request is that. Yeah, that works. We'll say args.request, and then say args. Actually, you know what? We only want to pass through the request, so we might as well just keep it request, and then we can just probably say request here. Cannot find name return. Not sure what that's all about. Request is declared, but its value is never. That's totally fine. Let's make sure that this is correct. Load inside of here. We have context, which is this. Data function args. I think this will be fine. So let's go back here and we'll say const form equals, let's see, request.form data, and we'll await this. And we'll say, let's get the name. This is going to be an async function. All right, and then we also want to do a guard check here. So if type of name is not equal to string, throw an error, a new error, name is not a string, cannot find. Let's just restart TypeScript, make sure that's working. So now we should be able to do db insert into db.insert to do values and then returning. Okay. I think that will actually create it with the proper name. We don't have any like specifics around like what you can and can't have as a name, so that's fine. And then we'll return back JSON with just an OK true here. Cannot find name JSON. That's because we need to import it from Remix. All right. I think that's good there. So we have the create to do. Let's go ahead and try using and creating a form here. So let's just say, do we want it above or below? Probably above. So we'll say form. This will be capital form because it's coming from Remix. All right. Oh, look at that. It worked. Example. All right, sweet. So that works for that. The next thing we want to do is we probably want to manage the form state when we actually like save. It should empty it out, right? We can do that with the use effect and a ref. So we'll say use effect, and then we'll use navigation to get the proper state management here. So we'll say const navigation equals use navigation, and then if navigation.state is equal to idle, and we have the data coming back as okay. So we'll say, and we need to get the action data. So let's make sure we import that, and we'll say const action data is equal to use action data. And this will be type of action. And then we can say action data dot okay. Then we just need to use a ref. So const input ref is equal to, we'll say that's fine, but we'll do shorthand syntax. And then we just need to put the ref on here. All right. So then we can say ref, input ref, dot current dot focus or dot clear. Wait. Dot value. Left hand, let's see. The left-hand side of an assignment expression may not be optional property access. Oh, actually, we don't want the input ref. We want the form itself. Form, HTML form. I got that wrong. Form ref equals ref, and then reset. Form reset. So now if I type in here and submit, it should be resetting. Oh, we need to pass in form here, I think. And navigation, state, and action data. There we go. Example. All right, so now we're starting to get a list built up of to-dos. How about being able to delete them? So we can come up here and we can kind of say async function delete to do. We'll say request as well. And then let's see what auto, let's see. Form, yes. We'll get the ID, yes. Delete. Where ID is, this is going to be as integer, as number, or null. Number. Type of ID, ID is required. The one thing that Copilot does wrong here is, and this is probably coming from Prisma, is the way that Drizzle works is it has a functions that do like equals and all the other sort of like likes. All of the SQL is like kind of like nested functions inside of the where statement. So it seems to always get that wrong with trying to actually get that properly set up for the where clause. But yeah, just make sure that if you look at like the Drizzle docs, Drizzle where equals, we'll see, filters is what it's called. So we'll have all these different type of filters you can use: equals, not equals, greater than, or less than. All of that can be used, but you have to use it in this sort of like nested function calls. Okay, so now if we go back here, we have the delete. We're not using this anywhere yet. So let's go ahead and get this used. So we'll say, right here, we'll say return delete request. And then we'll want to put in, probably next to here, we'll put a button. And let's also wrap this in a form. Okay, and then we'll say method is delete. And then we'll say this is going to be delete. And then if we refresh, we'll have delete. If I hit delete, oh, ID is required. That would make sense because we're not passing an ID. So we'll have like a hidden input ref or input right here for delete. And now if I hit delete, ID is still required. Let's come back up here. Let's say console.log ID. I bet it's coming back as a non-integer, which is fine. Usually form inputs aren't integers. ID is required. Let's make sure that we have this set up similar. Request form, form.get ID. Name is ID. Let's make this a little bit louder so we can see what's going on here. Console.log. And then now let's see what we got here. Okay, yeah, so it's working. It's just, okay, we'll just say string. String is fine. There we go. Now we can delete properly, so we're good there. So we can create and delete. In the next video, we'll talk about more around like doing other things, like what if we want to be able to update a completed at state and all of that. This video is already getting kind of long, so I wanted to go ahead and end it here. But if you like the video, give it a like. If you have recommendations for things you want to learn, drop them down below, and hopefully we'll get more videos in this series. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and we'll see you in the next one.